Good morning. I would like to convene the Assembly Water Parks and Wildlife Committee. Please, Sergeants, please call the absent members if there are any. Today, James Gallagher will be filling in for Devin Mathis on our committee. Let's establish a quorum. Kathy, please call the roll.
Levine.
Here.
Bigelow. Dolly.
Here.
Dodd. Gaines.
Here.
Garcia.
Here.
Gomez. Gray. Harper.
Present.
Lopez.
Here.
Gallagher.
Here.
Medina. Rendon. Ridley Thomas. Williams.
Here.
Ridley Thomas here. We have a quorum.
All right, we have a quorum. Let's begin with AJR 4. Mr. Dodd, please come forward to present your bill.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair and members, AJ4 requests the President of the United States to declare Berryessa Snow Mountain region a national monument. The Berryessa Snow Mountain region stretches from the shores of Lake Berryessa in Napa County to the flanks of Snow Mountain and includes portions of Lake, Mendocino, Solano, and Yolo counties. This encompasses some 350,000 acres of existing public federal lands. It is a biodiversity hotspot, providing habitat for bald and golden eagles, black bears, mountain lions, tule elk, and river otters. Permanently protecting this region will ensure that animal and plant life continue to flourish and that future generations will benefit from this area's beauty. The region's geographical proximity to the Bay Area and Sacramento makes it a major destination for outdoor recreation that is easily accessible to millions of Californians. Boating, fishing, off-roading, hiking, camping are all major draws, and the National Monument designation would increase the visibility and interest in these activities. An economic impact analysis prepared for the Winter's Chamber of Commerce shows that new tourism in this area would bring to the region an additional $50 million in revenue and 180 new jobs for the local economy over the next 5 years. This is consistent with studies that have been done showing increased economic activity following National Monument designation. AJR4 requests the Secretary of the Interior to respect existing land uses, respect private property in the area, and consult local representatives. More than 200 businesses in the surrounding Berryessa Snow Mountain region support a National Monument designation, as do leading environmental groups, nationally recognized recreation and sportsman groups, and all the county governments representing this region. Here with me today in support are Bob Schneider of Tuolumne, Pam Flick of the Defenders of Wildlife, and Mayor Cecilia Aguilar Curry of the City of Winters.
My name is Bob. Dodd. Yeah, please go ahead with this. Please be concise.
My name is Bob Schneider. I'm the Senior Policy Director with Tuolumne, a conservation organization based in Woodland, California. And we've been working on policy issues with respect to permanently protecting the Berryessa Snow Mountain for several years. Being a geologist, I always like to talk about the world-renowned geology of plate tectonics in this region. It's also, as Assembly Member Bill Dodd discussed, really part of the California Floristic Province, which is a hot spot for plants and animals. And Pamela will talk a little bit about the migratory corridors that provide important connectivity for wildlife, as contained in the report done by the California highway folks and the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. There are a lot of recreational opportunities in this region, including hiking, biking, camping, birding, motorboating, hunting, use of off-road vehicles on legally designated routes, botany, and many other pursuits that people enjoy. It's also very good for local economies, and Cecilia will address that. As Mr. Dodd commented, it's broadly supported. We've been working on this for a long time, and a lot of the issues have been addressed with the reintroduction of legislation. Congressman Thompson's done a great job of working on that, and we continue, Tuolumne, our dual process of working for the permanent protection of this region through congressional or administrative action. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, committee members. I'm Pamela Flick with Defenders of Wildlife. Thank you so much for the opportunity to express our strong support for this joint resolution. Berryessa Snow Mountain is a national treasure. This region's natural beauty, cultural history, geological wonders, and economic significance place it among the most special yet unprotected areas in our country. This hidden gem in the northern intercoastal ranges is home to a wide variety of wildlife, from tule elk to native trout to the state's second largest wintering bald eagle population. The region has vast blue oak woodlands, lush red fir forests, and unique plants that are found nowhere else on Earth. This area serves as an essential habitat connectivity link, which will be critical for maintaining ecological resiliency and enabling wildlife and plants to adapt to a changing climate. Permanently protecting this region will safeguard important areas for wildlife and rare plants, protect our clean water, encourage tourism, support local businesses, and ensure that suitable public lands remain open to varied outdoor recreation. Thank you for the opportunity to share our collective passion about this wild and unique part of the Golden State. We urge your support for AJR 4 and the permanent protection of Berryessa Snow Mountain as America's newest national monument. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Cecilia Aguirre-Curry, and I thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and committee members. I'm the mayor of the city of Winters, and today is a fabulous day for us to be here to present this to you. It is our local treasure. My city serves as the eastern gateway into the Berryessa Snow Mountain area, one of 3 gateway communities, which also includes Napa Valley and Lake County. The strong local support that this designation enjoys comes from a recognition of the great value protected public lands have. Permanent protection means that future generations will have the opportunity to enjoy the landscape as we are fortunate to have today. Protected lands are good for business. The Winters Chamber of Commerce recently released an economic study that demonstrated that the proposed national monument will potentially add up to 180 new jobs and a cumulative impact of up to $50 million over 5 years to an area already impacted by the recession and the changes in the concession contracts at Lake Berryessa. Every month this slips by without this designation, it represents a missed economic opportunity to benefit the region and the state. Thank you for your time, and please support AJR 4. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Alex Tangolix, and I'm here on behalf of the Yolo County Board of Supervisors. The Yolo County Board of Supervisors supports AJR 4 and has been a longstanding supporter of the federal action to permanently protect Berryessa Snow Mountain as to ensure that future generations have access to some of the most biologically diverse lands in the nation, as well as the myriad of recreational activities the region affords. We would like to thank Assemblymember Daw for taking a leadership role in authoring AJR 4 and humbly ask for your support. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. Karen Lang on behalf of the Napa County Board of Supervisors and the Solano County Board of Supervisors in strong support. The Napa County Board has itemized this as one of their very top priorities to accomplish in 2015, and we thank our former supervisor and now Assembly member for stepping into this role and trying to make it happen. Thank you very much, or drive it.
At this time, I'd like to call other supporters to state their name and affiliation and whether they support this. There will be a later opportunity to list opposition.
Catherine Phillips, Sierra Club, California, in strong support.
Sarah Husby, Executive Director representing Tuolumne, in strong support.
Robert Michaud, resident of Davis, in strong support.
Nathan Weaver, resident of Rancho Cordova, in strong support.
Eldridge Morris, retired UCD geology professor, expressing my own opinions. Strong support. Resident of Yolo County. Thank you.
Elizabeth Lesensky Davis on behalf of Yellow Climate Action and Yellow Move On. We all strongly support this resolution, and thank you. And thank you.
Thank you for that. Is there any opposition? All right, seeing none, we will move to any questions from members of the committee.
Quick question, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, pardon me? Yeah, Mr. Ridley Thomas.
Yes, Mr. Dodd. I don't know about this area, never been there, hope to visit. Sounds like a lovely place. You have a background in local government and business, I believe. Are there agricultural or ranching or livestock and land production activities that are in this region right now?
Right now, there's a lot of grazing under private contract with the federal government. In this resolution, we call out that as a land use, and we want to continue that. Congressman Thompson, in his bill, calls it out as well. We also called out agriculture in the event that, because there are some suitable lands in this area for agriculture, we called those lands out too, so that agriculture would be protected as well.
So it's allowed, if it becomes a national monument, as this resolution states, that there be ranching, livestock activity, and agricultural cultivation of this land.
That's correct.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Mr. Dolly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you holding this hearing, and I look forward to having some heavy debate on this piece of legislation. So I have a question. First of all, how much private property is in the area that is managed by private landowners? That's number one. Number two is, I know that there are permit holders on Lake Berryessa that have been having some trouble, I think, with the. Now, I'm not sure if it's Forest Service that regulates those permits, but I know they've been having some trouble getting their permits renewed. And could you explain how this is going to enhance that, or promote the $50 million that you say is going to come in? And that's the other question. I wanted to understand how it's going to generate revenues over and above what it would generate today.
Well, let me start with the first part about the board. It's been the Board of Reclamation that's been managing that lake for some time. As a county supervisor there for 14 years, I had since the last census over half of that lake in my area, and we worked with Congressman Thompson to get another bill passed in Washington, which was bipartisan, that got it changed over to the Bureau of Land Management. We felt like for those special permittees that was the most appropriate way to get contractors in there that could provide the economic vitality that we're looking for in that area. And as far as study.
So the study from the Chamber of Commerce was commissioned it was completed in November. And one of the things they found is the tourism in the Lake Berryessa area has really increased tremendously, primarily from a lot of people that are doing hiking and biking throughout the area. There has been a big need for additional access to the ridge and to the area as well, and there's only a few places that people can do that. And so one of the things that the City of Winters is doing is we're really promoting tourism throughout, ag tourism as well as ecotourism. So for us, we see it as a boom. We are currently in the process of building a new hotel, our first hotel, just because of the demand of the area. And people want to get out. We're 4.5 million people come less than an hour away to this beautiful region.
And Assemblymember, I can speak to your first question about public versus private lands. A national monument designation would apply only to federally owned and managed lands managed by Bureau of Land Management, U.S. Forest Service, and Bureau of Reclamation.
So I totally understand that. Somebody who actually owns land and has a wilderness study area that abuts my land up in Lassen County, because of that designation, it's more difficult for me to actually even try to work with the agencies because of those designations. And I believe that the monument designation is going to actually put another layer on there. So that's why I'm trying to figure out how this is going to make it easier for you to generate economies when you're trying to put a trail in and you put another layer over it by the monument designation, when we already have seen with the Forest Service that they're taking roads out of service and OHV areas. And so that's what I'm really having a struggle with. I had one more other follow-up, and then I'll turn it over to the rest of the members too. What about fire? The thought that we can just walk away from these forested areas and not do anything when we've suppressed fire for over 80 years, and we have an overgrown fuel, too much fuel loading out there. What is going to be the policy to deal with fire, and can you actually go in and mitigate that by thinnings? And I think the monument designation actually has more restrictions on it than opens it up.
Sure, thank you. That's an excellent question. And the different management agencies, primarily BLM and Forest Service, have very different ways of managing for a variety of resources. And in this case, one of the agencies, which will remain nameless, does quite a good job of fire management and working to avoid uncharacteristic fires, while the other agency could use some help with that. Having an overlay of a national management designation would create one cohesive management plan, and we believe that the best management practices of these different agencies will be adopted in that plan. And by all means, unlike the National Wilderness Act, where fire suppression activities are limited to handwork, except for in emergency situations, a national monument designation would allow for management and fire activities. Do you want to?
Yeah. Tuolumne is participating in the Firescape Mendocino program, which is a stakeholder process to look at accomplishing exactly those goals that you're talking about. How do we best reintroduce local jobs into the economy, into the forest? How do we manage the fuel growth in the forest? And this has been a pretty successful meeting schedule to date, and I think this is sort of a model that we can extend across the landscape with the development and management plan. And how do we effectively take care of these lands into the future? Because one of the nice things about these types of designations is you can write in the types of things that specific site areas need, and that's what I think will happen through the management plan, which has a lot of public participation in that development. One of the things I want to just backtrack on the economy, the economic planning systems really did look at this. One way to look at it is the economy of Berryessa was primarily a summer economy based on motorboating on the lake. That should continue. But what you can really add to it is a year-round economy with other people going up to different types of facilities that can be installed there. And then that will keep these businesses year-round effective with income producing. So really what this will do is it's done and every other designation like this in the West will improve these local economies. And in this case, I think will primarily help them go year-round. So you'll have not just the motorboating, but you'll extend that economic season.
I just want to follow up with, I know.
Is this your fifth follow-up?
Can you give me one example of a monument that actually increased the relationship between the BLM Forest Service and was there one out there that you could just state?
Yeah, absolutely. The Santa Rosa San Jacinto National Monument in Southern California near Palm Springs.
Any other questions from the dais? You're limited to 5 follow-ups in this committee. You do understand that, Mr. Gallagher.
I just have one, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
I think some of the concern here is just, will there be additional restrictions on existing uses and permitting that associated with that? It sounds like with the Antiquities Act and what we're seeking to do here with declaring a monument, it gives Secretary of Interior broad discretion to decide which uses should be allowed and should not be allowed. That sounds like another agency that's going to have at least some authority over this area, in addition to BLM and Forest Service. For me, I actually have 2 cities in my district that derive their power from the geothermal plant up in Lake County. I don't know, is that plant in the designated area? And would it have any kind of impact on their ability to continue to operate?
No, that's outside the area.
And I think Assemblymember Dodd spoke to the restrictions on existing activities, and Congressman Thompson and Senator Boxer have worked very hard to outline in the legislation at the federal level that those existing activities will continue. I also want to remind folks that the Bureau of Land Management actually is housed under the Interior Secretary, and so it's not actually an additional layer. It's already existing.
Is
that a follow-up? All right, come on.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
Keep it coming. All right. There is. We had someone who did want to come up and speak in opposition to register her opposition. And I really like it when people come on time. So if you're from across the street and you're late, you're not going to get this opportunity. But this is a member of the public who drove all the way from Reading. And so I think it's really important to be supportive of people from the public who do want to participate in this process. So please come on down. What we do is we just state our name and our affiliation and our position when we do this.
My name is Nadine Bailey. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the Family Water Alliance. We represent 3,500 family farms in the Sacramento Valley, and we are in strong opposition to this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming today. Mr. Gray.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Assemblyman Dodd, interesting, that opposition. Interesting in anticipation of my question, are there any impacts whatsoever of this status on the water delivery systems in the region? Anybody going to do that?
No. The two areas here that are primarily affected are Indian Valley Reservoir, and that's managed by the Yolo County Flood Control Water Conservation District. And Cache Creek, or the North Fork of Cache Creek, flows out of the Indian Valley Reservoir and down into Yolo County, where it's used for agriculture irrigation. And those water rights are held by, as administered by the State Water Resources Control Board, and that's what will continue. And the interesting thing about that, Cache Creek, is it's not really connected to the Sacramento River system, so there isn't, it's pretty insular in that regard. It's incredibly well managed, and this won't affect the way that's managed.
And Lake Berryessa is also managed by...
Well, that's managed a lot by the Solano Irrigation District and the Bureau of, the Bureau of Reclamation, holds the water rights for that, and it's managed by the Solano Irrigation District. Well, I think Solano actually has the water rights there.
They do, and all 5 members of the Board of Supervisors of Solano County are supportive.
Yeah. So, in direct answer to your question, no, this will not affect water rights or use.
Since we've taken half of the chairman's important oversight hearing on Rezo, I'm going to just second it. I think we should vote. It's a beautiful area. There is sometimes, I think, some irrational fear about this designation. And of course, Rezos are non-binding, so I think we should vote.
So we have a motion from Mr. Ridley Thomas and a second from Mr. Williams. Are there any other further questions or comments? Let's call the roll.
AJR 4.
Oh, I'm sorry, pardon me. Mr. Dodd, Mr. Williams made a beautiful close. Would you like to close?
I ask for your aye vote.
Perfect.
The action is be adopted. Levine.
Aye.
Levine, aye. Bigelow. Dolly.
No.
Dolly, no. Dodd.
Yes.
Dodd, aye. Gaines.
No.
Gaines, no. Garcia.
Aye.
Garcia, aye. Gomez. Gray. Harper.
No.
Harper, no. Lopez.
Yes.
Pardon?
Yes.
Lopez, aye. Gallagher.
No.
Gallagher, no. Medina. Rendon.
Aye.
Rendon, aye. Ridley Thomas.
Aye.
Ridley Thomas, aye. Williams.
Aye.
Williams, aye.
Gray, aye.
Gray, aye.